Hi, welcome to Mom to Wife Plus Life. This podcast is all about motherhood and life, and of course, everything in between. So if you're ready for some hot mess topics, rants, and life lessons, let's dive right in.
Hi, you guys. I just want to get on here and give you guys a little disclaimer about traveling. Since this episode is about traveling tips and destinations and different times of the year to travel, especially with the coronavirus going around and people really concerned about their health and all the information regarding that. The CDC recommends that travelers avoid all non essential travel to the following destinations: China, Iran, most European countries, the United Kingdom, Ireland, and South Korea. So, if you are planning to travel to any one of these places, please take into consideration that there is a travel ban currently in effect right now and that you should not travel unless absolutely necessary. All right, now back to our regular programming.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Mom to Wife Plus Life. And today I have a really personal friend of mine. She is amazing, and it's funny how we met, but I'll let her tell the story. Mary, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Mary Money, and I'm on here today because I wanted to talk about travel. I know everybody loves traveling, and so I want to talk about some experiences and questions that I come across that people, want to know for, like, if they have families or children, or if it's just them and their spouse or a partner that like to travel. So that's why I'm here. I've been doing travel for over 30 years. And so I know a lot of different, secrets and discounts and how to get this and that. And so, if you ever do need any information, or if you'd like for me to help you plan a vacation, feel free to get in touch with me.
Yes, she is amazing at planning trips. So if you guys are planning a trip coming up for spring break, summer break, winter break, all of those breaks, Mary is a person for you to reach out to and get your trip booked. So, Mary, I have a couple of questions, and these are just general questions, and we can dive more into like the travel and the tips and discounts and tricks that you have up your sleeve. But these are just some general questions that I run into when asking people about travel and stuff. So,
Okay.
First and foremost, what made you want to get into travel and helping people book their dream vacation or a good vacation?
Well, I started in the travel industry back in 1994. And so how that happened was my best friend, her mom owned a travel agency in Culver City, California. And so one day she had asked me and my friend if we would come to her office and stamp brochures and answer phone calls. And so we did. And then that's where it all began. And so by listening to her book vacations, have people come into the office and give her the information on what they wanted to do, and me just listening to what her responses were, it made me feel like, oh my God, I think this is what I would like to try and do, and I was still young at the time. And so I still didn't even really know which kind of career I wanted. And so, but I knew I loved traveling. So that's where it started. I just really fell in love with how she made dreams come true for people who thought that they could never go to a destination that they had always had on their bucket list, and how she made it happen for them.
Nice. I love that. There's a beautiful story, and you started off pretty young back in 1994. Oh my goodness. That's a long time. So do you work for a travel agency or like a virtual assistant, or do you just kind of, tell me what kind of agency you work for, or do you just do this independently?
Well, I do own my own travel agency. It's called Amazing Travel and Tours. but people can find me on Facebook or any social media under Travel by Mary. And so I meet with people. I do it from home. So I used to have an office, but I find it right now that it's a lot better that I do it from home. And so I have all the tools and, I can still make all the reservations and bookings, and I can meet with clients. If you're local, I can meet with clients at their home, or they can come over to my house, or we can meet at Starbucks. And then we just go over all the information on what they want to do, and then we make the reservation there.
Nice. I love that. Only if you're local, she'll meet up with you in person. But if not, she's happy to talk with you over the phone.
Or by email.
Skype, all FaceTime if you have an iPhone, all of those things. So can traveling be affordable? Why and why not? Because I know there's the question for everybody, like they just don't have enough money, or they have to save up for it. Can it be affordable for most people on a general budget?
Yes. Traveling doesn't always have to be expensive. If you're flexible with your dates and the places that you're looking to stay at, I mean, I know we all want to stay in a 5-star hotel or go on on one of the big major cruise lines like Crystal Cruises or, things like that. But if we're on a budget, I mean, we can still have that luxury in traveling. So like I said, if you're flexible, I can make any vacation to fit your budget. So whether it's a 3-day trip or a week trip, I will put it all together. You just give me the numbers on how much you want to spend, and I will make, the travel affordable for you.
Nice. And speaking of affordable destination vacations and flexibility, what have you seen as the most requested travel destination for either parents or couples during your booking career?
The main places that I would book for families or couples that are just starting out is the Caribbean, Mexico, parts of Latin America. A lot of couples like all-inclusives, which include the air, hotel, food, drinks. Those are very affordable. And then families with kids, they're looking for kid-friendly locations. So I would recommend, like, if you want to stay within the United States, I would recommend, like, Florida, so you can go to Disney World, or California, places that cater to children. I mean, there's of all ages. Even parts of the Mexico and the Caribbean have kid-friendly places that you can stay at as well.
Nice. I love that, because we all know I have a daughter, so finding time away from her and traveling and trying to book a vacation is kind of the hard thing, because you have to find a babysitter. It's a lot more moving parts than just let's go on vacation. So that's really nice to hear that you can do both. Some alone time for the parents and the couples, and then also a family trip. When is the best time to travel? Because we all try to do like summer break, spring break, basically the busy times, and we are always kind of faced with the reality that everybody's traveling at that time. So when is the best time to travel from your point of view?
That's a great question. So I get a lot of people asking me, when is a good time to go? So the best month to travel is September. And the reason why I say that is because you'll find great vacation deals and fewer crowds at popular destinations around the world. And also September usually marks the end of peak season for travel season. So generally, like, the cheapest month of the year to travel is starting September. But like October is a good time to travel as well, but you don't want to go to the Caribbean or anything like that because that's hurricane season. But there's other locations that you can go to around October. Also, traveling in January and parts of February, it's also considered the dead zone. So you'll be able to find really good prices on flights. And so usually like around January 7th or 8th to about mid-February, that's really a good time to start looking for your plane tickets.
Nice. Now, for the plane tickets, because I was actually talking with my husband the other day, which you already know how he is, but I was talking with him and we were trying to like figure out, because we both want to go to Florida. He kind of wants to go back to relive his Navy days. I just want to go to the beach. I really don't care. But we were talking about going to Florida, and he was like, well, plane tickets are so expensive. And I said, well, why don't we just book a one-way there and a one-way back? It might save us a little bit of money. What do you think about that?
Well, when would you book your one-way back? Like, prior to you going, or while you're there?
Probably prior to before like we actually leave on vacation, so we have a return flight already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, yes, some people do that. I've done it. I've done it recently, and so that gives you the opportunity to save up for the other way back.
Mm-hmm.
But what you can do also too is if you book a round trip, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can book your round trip, and I would suggest, like, if you're going to Florida, I would suggest like maybe looking at like Allegiant or Southwest or JetBlue, airlines like that. The only downfall on them, I mean, they do have cheaper fares, but the only downfall on those ones, except for Southwest, is they do charge for luggage, and they do charge for your seats. Dang. So that's a catch-22. You may find a really good price on the airline ticket, but then you got to come up with the rest for the seats and the luggage. But booking the one-way going and then later on booking the return, I mean, you can do it. There's, you will find some cheaper prices sometimes doing it that way. But again, you just need to figure out which airline you're wanting to fly back on or going in on. And just you have to remember that most of all the airlines for domestic flights do charge for seats and luggage now. So that's been going on for such a long time. But there is a website that you can go on, and you can also find it on the airline's website, where it's called Affirm. A lot of people might not know this because it's probably a couple years old right now. And you really don't know it's there unless you're actually looking for it. But if you click on it, it'll say, do you want to make a payment, or do you want to make payments for this flight?
Oh,
yeah. So you can actually make payments for your airline tickets now through Affirm. And it's not a scam or anything like that. I've already used it, going from Las Vegas to Albuquerque, New Mexico. My payments were only $19 a month. And it's just kind of like, like a, what do you call it? It's like an air consolidator that helps you with the airline tickets. And never in our time in travel that I've been in business doing this, were you ever able to make payments on an airline ticket. You always had to pay it in full. And so this company is pretty cool, and it's pretty legit. And, it helps out a lot of people who do want to fly and can't afford to pay that $400 ticket right up front, or, even more or whatever. That gives them the opportunity to make this little payment of $19 or $32, but it'll let you know. It'll let you know how much it is a month. And you can fly on the ticket already while you're still making your monthly payment. So, if you want to book, let's say, for an example, you want to fly to Florida in a couple weeks. You book your flight, the ticket's $500, let's just say. And so you click on the Affirm, and it'll say that the payment a month is $35. And so then it doesn't ask you to make that first payment until the following month. So you're already flown on your ticket to go there already and coming back. while you're still making these payments. So just make sure you make your payments and everything will be good.
Nice. I love that. I actually heard about that a long time ago. I just didn't know how
Okay.
legit it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I see it like on a lot of like websites now where you're booking like we just did it for the Great Wolf Lodge. We were thinking about going up there for like a weekend in Kansas City and just going to the Great Wolf Lodge because we've never been. And they had that on there, and I was like, "Oh my god, that is so cool! Like, you can make payments on this. This is awesome. This helps with our budget."
Exactly. Yeah, and it's not just for travel either. I mean, it's for everything. I mean, you can buy furniture, jewelry. I mean, you name it, they got it.
I know. I love that. I love it. So, listeners, make sure you guys go check out Affirm, and I'm pretty sure Mary will do the same if she's booking your your travel plans for you. Also, the next question would be, what tips would you give travelers with little ones? Because I know traveling, that's the fear of every parent is like, I don't want to be that annoying person with kids traveling. So what tips would you give travelers? Because I mean, I don't think I've ever been in a situation like that, but I usually just kind of went around like bedtime when I was traveling with my little one, so that she was already asleep, so it wasn't like bothering anybody. So what tips would you give?
Well, some of the tips that I would give to parents with little ones, and depending on how little the kids are. So if they're able to, play on an iPad or, listen to some music, their favorite music, just something that they're occupied with. Because, a happy child is going to be a happy flight. And so, and we just have to keep them entertained because, I mean, as an adult, going on a 5-hour flight for me even is like, oh my God, are we already there yet? But yeah, I would make sure to bring things for the kids to play with on the flight, quietly so that we're not disturbing any other passengers or whatever. But if they're littler, like infants, children like that, then of course, make sure you bring whatever makes them happy. So, some kids like their pacifiers, a little toy if they're teething, the little teething ring, things like that, just to keep them happy and so that they're not crying or getting frustrated, and then I've flown with my kids on a flight before. We went to Chicago, and my son was about 8 months old at the time, my oldest. And so, I mean, I would get up and walk with him, up and down the aisle just to keep him moving around and so that he wasn't uptight or anything like that. But you can make it happen. You just, and I mean, and if they do act up, well, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
I mean, that's your child, and so you just got to do whatever you can. And if other people are looking at you crazy or weird or whatever, the only thing I would do is just say, I'm sorry, and just try and help the baby.
I would just look at them crazy back. I'd just be like, and what? Crazy eyes, just crazy eyes. But,
I know, right?
That's just me. Just saying. Because, I mean, you're not the one dealing with it. So, unless you're going to help me out, don't look at me. Well, you said that you had some, tips for us for traveling, besides the ones you've already given us. What would you say, are good tips for travelers, as far as discounts? I know there's a military discount, like the AARP discount, things like that. So just whether they're kind of discounts and like little secret hidden things that you can share with us that you're able to.
Well, like you said, there's military discounts, there's senior discounts, but just know too, even though you're getting these senior discounts or military discounts, always look at what the regular published fare is, because not always a military discount or a senior discount is cheaper than the regular published fare. Yeah. For instance, Southwest Airlines, and I'm going to use those guys over and over again because they really have good fares. They have want-to-get-away fares, they have military fares, and they have senior fares. The difference between all those three different fares is the senior fare is fully refundable and changeable. The military fare is the same thing. But the want-to-get-away fare has restrictions on it. So it may be non-refundable, but you can use it up to a year if something happens that you need to cancel the flight. So I mean, you're not going to really lose out on that money. You'll have a year to use it. But it all depends on what your flexibility is. So, for instance, there's times where you can get a want-to-get-away fare because they're having a special on those tickets for, let's just say, $180. Well, let's say a little bit more. Let's say $250. And then the military fare is going to be $300, but it's fully refundable. And then the senior fare is going to be the same price because it's fully refundable and changeable. So it all depends on you. I mean, if you think you want to pay that little extra dollars to have that military discount or that senior fare, then and have a refundable ticket and, have all the perks about changing the ticket if you wanted to at no additional charge, then that would be good. But if you are like, well, I'd rather just pay the less amount of fare because I know I'm actually going, but at least if I can't go, I still have that year to use it. So it just all depends. So always check the different fares that the airlines have before you actually book your discount fare. And if you book through me, I will let you know. I'll let you know which is going to be the best way for you to go.
Nice. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us about traveling or anything?
There is one last thing that I would just like to remind everybody. October of 2020 is the deadline on when you're supposed to have your real ID, and that's for every state in the U.S. So with that real ID, it's a lot different than the regular driver's license that we had before. Some of you may already have it, some of you may not. If you are a traveler, you definitely need to get it as soon as possible so that you can, because otherwise you won't be able to board a flight, or even take a cruise or anything like that. But October of 2020 is your deadline. That's when you're going to have to switch it over.
Now, a quick question about that, because I have to go to the DMV and officially get my Arkansas driver's license. Ugh. But, so I would get the real ID, but would I still need a passport for some travel places?
Yeah. Okay. So when you go out of the country, you still will need your passport.
Gotcha.
But if you go on a cruise and it departs from the U.S. and returns back to the U.S., then you don't really need a passport. But if you want to take one, you can. But you do need to take your birth certificate and your driver's license or state issue ID.
Cool. Gotcha. That's a really important question that I need to ask. Well, I want to say thank you for coming on today. Do you have any questions for me or our listeners or anything like that?
No, just if anybody needs any tips or help with booking any kind of vacations or like to know any deals, you can go on to my Facebook page. It's Travel by Mary, or I also have Instagram, and it's under the same thing, Travel by Mary. I will be placing specials on there for spring break or about the real ID, or just any specials that come along. If you see anything, just go ahead and message me, or my phone number's on there. You can give me a call, or call Jen, and she'll let you know. She'll give you my information, too.
Yes. Well, I'll screen you first, but yes.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I know we have a lot of parents that travel and a lot of, couples that listen that travel, and it's just pretty cool to get a little insight on all of that. If you guys didn't catch all the information from Mary, all her information will be in the show notes below and as well as on social media. So I will promote it with all her links and also it will be in the show notes. So make sure you read the show notes for all the information. Sometimes there's freebies in there, so you might really want to check the show notes. But again, thank you so much, Mary, for coming on today and giving us our listeners something to think about when traveling and to also reach out to you to get booked on some awesome vacations. And
I appreciate that, Sharon. And thank you so much for inviting me onto your show. And I look forward to coming back on another time and maybe bring out some special that I'm having, okay?
Yes, we'll do. We'll need to have you on, especially for the specials.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the podcast and make sure you share it as well. It only helps me and helps the listeners produce more content and get more guests on like Mary. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day.
Hey peeps, while we're taking a quick break from the podcast episode, my question to you is, have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Well, I had that same question and I have an answer for that. So when I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. I mean, too many questions to count. How do I record an episode, for example? How do I get my show into all the apps that people like to listen to, like Google, Spotify, all those places? How do I make money from this podcast? I think that's most of the goal for most people. The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free. I'm going to say that one more time. 100% free. And ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. This means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. I love Anchor so much. It's so easy. I can use it from my mobile phone or I can actually use it from my desktop computer. It's perfect for those conversations on the go or those last minute scheduling podcast episodes with guests. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money by doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. Again, that's anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to listen to your podcast episodes. Back to the show. Hey, you guys, sorry to interrupt the episode, but I just had to stop and tell you guys some amazing things that are happening with this podcast. So not only do we have our 50th episode and over 1,500 downloads per episode, which is amazing, but we are also going to YouTube. Oh my God, yes, YouTube. We're going to the tubes, as my daughter calls it. So we are going to be going on YouTube. Make sure you guys check the show notes for the link to the YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to that so you stay in tune with that. Also, we are going to be doing lives every Wednesday on Facebook and Instagram. So if you're not following me on those platforms, you need to be following me because I will be answering questions live. And maybe it might be recorded, maybe it won't be. I haven't decided that yet. But I just know I'm going live every Wednesday on Instagram and Facebook, probably around the morning time, just because the little one's in school. And if you guys have questions, I can answer them. Also, the Patreon is coming to Mom to Wife Plus Life podcast. I have 3 different tiers from as little as 99 cents to $9.99. And you guys Mommy Brain, subscribe to them and get awesome prizes and exclusive content. So make sure you guys are doing that. I get notified when you guys do. So if you guys want to become part of the Patreon and get these amazing things, I will have another recording of what those things are. But look out for them. Make sure you guys subscribe to them. Not only does it help me help you, but it helps me become a better content creator for the podcast. And you guys are doing amazing so far by listening and sharing, but you guys can do more. All right, back to the episode. Thank you.
Hey, before you go, I just want to say thank you for tuning in today's episode. And also, if you haven't already, like and subscribe, and make sure you comment and leave a rating for the podcast. Have a good one, you guys.